right, YouTube, it's Mr. Mean coming at you live again from the interwebs with another RPG review. It's a dreary Sunday here in Beaumont, Texas. We've had rain all day, all weekend. Yesterday was kind of sunny. I was going to go to Eden Gaines today, and well, didn't really want to drive in this crappy weather, so decided to pump out a couple videos. So again, man, total brain fart. It happens. This is why I'm not a professional broadcaster. Probably wouldn't make it. Probably get booed off the air. But anyway, today, Savage Worlds Deluxe, or Savage. It's Pinnacle Entertainment, peginc.com. Great website. It's been getting hammered because they've doing the Kickstarter for Savage Rifts, and it took off like wildfire. They did a great job. And one thing I can say about Shane Lacey Hensley is he always follows through on his Kickstarts, and usually is right on timeline or well within, the limits of acceptability. I've backed a couple Kickstarters where I've waited over a year for product, and I know Kickstarter's only really been going for about the last 2 or 3 years, but still, it's unacceptable. I mean, if you're a small press, if you're a guy like me working out of your garage or whatever, I can see, delays and things being set back. But if you're a professional game publisher, like a couple of these places are, and it takes you 2 years or a year and a half to get your product out, you got problems. Unless it was stated up front that that's the way it was going to be. And if that's the case, that's fine. It's set the expectation. Shane and crew over at PEG, or Pinnacle Entertainment Group, really do a great job of setting the expectation when you're going to get your stuff, and you know exactly what you're paying for. So I've heard a lot of people grouse about getting screwed over by Kickstarter. I can unfortunately say I'm very picky about what I back, and most of the stuff I back has come through. Did a huge back on the DCC RPG, and I'll be doing a unboxing video for that when it comes out. And again, they've kept us up to date on everything they're doing. But anyway, this is not a video about Kickstart. This is the video about the RPG Savage Worlds. Why is this my favorite game? Why? It's real simple. This game does everything. You want to play sci-fi? Get yourself the Science Fiction Compendium. It's got everything you need right there. Psionics, robots, cyberware. It's all in here. You want superpowers? Hey, look, superpower compendium. Boom, everything you got. You want to play Wolverine? Boom, it's in here. You want to play the Torch? It's in here. You want to play Superman? It's in here. You can do it. You can build it. You like that dark space, hard sci-fi? Last Parsec. Done. You want a really good, John, I want to play evil superheroes. I want to be the bad guys that, try to take over the world. Hey, got you covered. Necessary Evil. This is Breakout. This is a prequel to the original Necessary Evil. This is what happens before everything that goes down in the current Necessary Evil timeline. So it's really good. It's when they put the aliens put the dome up over the fictional city. I forgot what it's called. And it's hardback, full color. Picked it up at ChupacabraCon in Austin, beginning of the summer. Phenomenal. Really well done. Last Parsec. Huge Kickstarter. Again, when I was talking about Shane's Kickstarters, I didn't kickstart this one, and I kicked myself. I should have, because cool stuff here. I'm not a huge plot point, and a lot of Savage Worlds settings are plot point settings, and I'm not a fan of those. I like to run my own adventures where I put the party, through whatever it is that they need to go through. But they got books. This is the core book. This is really the Science Fiction Compendium, and the core book is all you need. And maybe even Superpowers book if you want to add some extra psionic powers and stuff in there. So phenomenal setting, really well done, really well written. Like I said, and they had Eris Beta 4 or 5. This is kind of like one of their setting books for this area. It gives you a whole bunch of information, a little bit of a plot point in here, I believe, and just all kinds of cool information on the area of Eris Beta 5. Born of Chaos, Shrouded in Mystery. When Eris Beta 5's valuable commerce is threatened by unscrupulous agencies, a Jump Corp employed team must root them out. So it's kind of like an adventure slash setting book. Jump Corp is what you play, the heroes. If you're playing in the last parsec, you're most likely part of Jump Corp. Jump Corp is this huge mega corporation that does everything. They make everything. They sell everything. They provide services, and one of the services they provide are Jump Corp security or Jump Corp sec troubleshooters, and that's what the players are. And so you, as the GM, would guide them through misadventures or adventures in this hard sci-fi setting. And if you wanted to add horror to this, get the horror compendium. Boom! Now you've got your Lovecraftian space horrors in with your sci-fi setting. They have a whole plethora of third-party publishers for Savage Worlds. Beast and Barbarians. You want to play Conan? Boom! Beast and Barbarians. Solomon Kane? Boom! Solomon Kane. They got a core book for it. You want to play Monster Hunters in a Victorian, England? Rippers. Done. They did a successful Kickstarter for Rippers too, and it came out phenomenal. So, I mean, yeah, there's just everything you can think of. This is the I think second print. And by the way, this is $10. You get 191 pages. 2 pages is index, but hey, indexes are helpful. So basically 191 pages of just rules. There's no fluff, there's no setting. You want a setting, you want rules for a setting, then you buy one of these type of books. Or you make your own. That's what's great about Savage Worlds, everybody wants to, D&D doesn't have an Eberron setting out. You want to play Eberron, in a fantasy setting. Boom. You just make up your own stuff. Phenomenal setting. Easy. +2, -2. +4, -4. There's your modifiers. You're done. Uses a regular deck of poker cards for initiative. So there's no, super dice rolls where you get lucky and everything. You use poker cards. Can't get more random than that. I mean, unless the GM or the player stack the deck, but before every game you shuffle the deck. Another cool thing that they give to the players and the GM are bennies. Bennies are little poker chips on average, tokens, whatever. My bag of goodies. Just to give you an example of some of the poker. This is hard to get, but this is the oversized poker deck. Kind of somewhat, I'd almost call it a collector's item because they are hard to find. I think Pinnacle re-releases them every so often, but that's called Smiling Jack. That's a representation of a wild card. So every player or any NPC that has this little icon next to its stat block would be denoted as a wild card, meaning they get to roll an extra d6 with all their trait rolls. So phenomenal. But yeah, it's just a standard deck of poker cards, just laid out super big so everybody can see it from across the room. Like I said, kind of hard to get a hold of sometimes. I was fortunate to find it and scooped it up as soon as I saw it. I don't want to say they're rare or collectible, but if you're a sorry for the noise. If you're a Savage Worlds GM, they are kind of hard and rare to get a hold of. One of the other settings is by a company called Gunmetal Games. They make a setting called Interface Zero. They had a very successful Kickstarter, basically cyberpunk. If you remember the old R. Talsorian's Cyberpunk 2020? This is Cyberpunk 2020 on steroids. It's amazing. As a matter of fact, their hacking rules are so good that Pinnacle refers you to these guys for the hacking rules because they're that good. The Interface Zero 2.0 book is a hardback book. It's in one of these boxes behind me because I don't have a group that wants to play it right now, but it's a monster of a tome, hardback, gorgeous art. It was a Kickstarter. I backed it, so I got the book and the PDFs and stuff. Amazing. So very cool stuff. Yeah, 3x5 cards, or yeah, 3x5 cards. Can't live without them. I'm a GM. In fact, right now, because school's starting, Little GM pro tip for you. Go to Office Depot, a penny a pack. A penny, 1 cent. I don't care how broke of a gamer you are, you can afford a penny if you need, index cards to write initiative on, to write notes to the GM, to other players. I use it as my GM notes. This was my last Parsec game I was running. I just put little notes on there and I just keep them. I have these things laying all over the house. And the great part is my wife uses them for recipes, grocery lists. She'll write on here what she needs to go. So a penny, man. I bought like 5 or 6 packs. One of the cool things is Savage Worlds has what they call, it's not for every game, but you can use it in most of their games, called the Adventure Deck. It's just a standard deck of like poker-sized cards, but they have little benefits on them. And what you do as a GM is you give these out to the players at the beginning of every session. And sometimes, depending on their rank, we don't have levels in Savage Worlds. We have rank, novice, journeyman, seasoned, veteran, all the way up. So depending on your rank, you get multiples of these cards. But at novice, at first level, you get 1 card. So the GM would draw you out a card. What I do, because I'm a nice GM and I'm benevolent, because I'm always trying to kill the party, I give them 2 cards to start, and then they can look at them and they give 1 back to me. You as the GM, though, don't get to see these cards. These are only for the players. They can trade amongst themselves for what better suits. Because if you're playing a melee character and you get a ranged combat card, it doesn't do you any good. But maybe the gunslinger in your party, got a melee card. So you guys, the players can freely swap. So these just a little plot device. There's inspiration in here, which does just what it says. Power surge. The character immediately recovers 2d6 power points. These points may exceed his usual limit, but any excess power points are lost at the end of the current encounter. So if you're a magic user, you use power points. That's how they keep track of how much spells you can cast. So, if you're a magic user and you've depleted all your spells fighting the big bad guy, you drop, you pop this card out on the GM, you get to roll 2d6 and you get that many power points back, and it might be enough to save your bacon and, save the party. But the piece de la resistance of Savage Worlds is what I love. What I love is their poker chips. These were the poker chips for Interface 0. I'm going to hold that up there. And I know the light's not that great in here. They were same on both sides, but they're nice poker chips. They're actually clay. You get varying degrees. Some companies do really nice poker chips like these. Some companies do El Cheapos. These came about in the early years of Pinnacle when they were doing their game Deadlands. And one of the mechanics in it was poker chips. And it had red, blue, and white poker chips. And you could buy those uber cheap, dollar store, Kmart, Walmart, 2,000 poker chips for like $5. But it was kind of the thing. And so that's everybody. And I still have a set around here somewhere because I never got rid of them. But now game companies and, creative design as it is, have really taken off with making their own bennies. And so these are phenomenal. They feel great. I was using them for my last Parsec game, and they work great. Usually get about, I think, 25 or 30 of them for like $15. Savage Rifts is about to have, they're going to have some as well, which I got with my Kickstart. So, yeah, just phenomenal stuff. Always good to have, little Ziploc bag. Little GM trick there. Ziploc bags are your friend. My wife is a Ziploc queen. She uses them for everything. And so, hence I get to use them for everything. So that is Savage Worlds. You get a trait. If you're a wild card, you get to roll an extra d6. It works on almost like a poker theme. So if you get a raise on a die roll, say the target number is a 7, and you roll your shooting. Well, target number for shooting is always a 4, unless there's modifiers for range and cover and things like that. But the basic target number to hit somebody with a ranged attack is 4. So you'd roll your shooting die, and that covers every kind of shooting. It's a bow, a laser, a ballista, whatever. So, and you'd roll a d6 because you're a wild card, and the dice are separate. You don't total them up, but you take the highest. Now, if the die rolls whatever its maximum value is, say a 6 on a d6, that's what we call an ace, and you get to re-roll. It explodes, which is a good thing. So then you get to roll another die of the same type. So if it was a d6, you'd roll another d6. If it aced or exploded again, you'd get to roll it again ad infinitum. You get the point. The only point where it's not pertinent is on raises, because you can only really get one raise. Back in the old days of Deadlands, you could get multiple raises, but it got crazy, and so they did away with it, because the premise of Savage Worlds is FFF, fast, fun, and furious. And so that's why they did away with multiple raise rolls. So you can only get one raise. But the nice part is if you get a raise on that said shooting roll, as the example, then you take an extra d6 for damage, and you'd add that to whatever the damage is of that gun. So say I'm using a regular Peacekeeper, 6-shooter from the Old West. I think it has a base damage of 2d6. I'd get to add a third d6, and those dice you total up. And you take that total of that 3d6. Let's say it's 11, and I'm shooting a Mook, and he has a toughness of 5. So I've exceeded his toughness by 2 because I got 11. So that's a hit and a raise. So he gets shaken and a wound, and you only have technically 4 wounds in Savage Worlds, and after that you're incapacitated. And it even says so. There's a plethora of really good character sheets out there on the web for the different flavors of Savage Worlds. And like I said, it's a generic system. It's like GURPS. If you've played GURPS, it's like to an extent, Mutant and Masterminds. You can play any kind of setting you want in Mutants and Masterminds. Same thing with Savage Worlds. Or Fantasy Age by Green Ronin. Same thing. Generic setting. You put the flavor of the world on top of it, and you roll with it. So the next thing is this Pinnacle's been out for a long time now, and they make all different kinds of flavors. So and there's all different types of settings that you can play in, and it's just fun. It's a great system. It's very easy to get new players into. I do a lot of conventions, and I run it at conventions, usually just for fun. I mean, I don't ask Pinnacle for anything, just because I enjoy the game that much. And I don't usually ask for anything anyway, but a lot of companies say, hey, if you run demos, we'll give you this. Dungeon Crawl Classics, Goodman Games is phenomenal about that. They say, oh, you went to this convention, you ran, here's a bunch of free stuff. Pinnacle's sent me stuff in the past as well. They're a really good company. Their products are 99% of the time very well written, edited, laid out. I've never had one of these books fall apart on me. I can honestly say I don't put them in the same league as like Fantasy Flight Games, and I've had Fantasy Flight Games fall apart on me. I mean, I bought the new Dark Heresy second edition when it came out, and I had the book for less than a week, and pages literally fell right out of the book. And I mean, to their credit now, I contacted them, sent them a picture of it, and they sent me a brand new book, and they said, keep the old book, just spiral bound it, whatever you want, use it, give it away, whatever. We don't care. We don't want it back. So, but it's the hassle of having to go through that sucks. Never, ever have I had that happen with any, and I mean, this is just a smattering of the books. I think I have almost everything for Savage Worlds. That's kind of scary to say. Hellfrost is another good setting. Again, normally I would have all my bookshelves behind me with my books in them, but I can't do that because, again, as I said in previous videos, this will be the baby room. Hellfrost, think Vikings in the frozen north. Phenomenal setting. Awesome setting. A bunch of books put out for it. Probably my de facto setting for Savage Worlds is Hellfrost. I like it that much. Paul Wade Wiggy is the creative designer behind it from TAG Games, which I can't for the life of me remember what TAG stands for. Oh, Triple Ace Games, TAG, T-A-G, and it's triple-acegames.com. Phenomenal. TAG Wiggy is just he's a beast. That guy can spit out stuff like you wouldn't believe. and it's all good quality stuff. So if you like Vikings and you like a hard fantasy setting with dragons, lots of dragons, and in this world, dragons are pretty much the bad guys, or hell drakes, frost drakes, whatever you want to call them. It's an amazing setting, and if you like hard Vikings in a frozen north setting, it's a really good setting. I highly recommend it. And there's more material than you can shake a stick at. He did all these world guides and like city guides, and I think that he's going to be running a separate Kickstarter here pretty soon to compile those into a book and make it like a nice big hardback book. And you better believe I'll be all over that when that happens. But again, I'm rambling on now. It's been about 20 minutes. If you have any questions about Savage Worlds, there's tons of information out there. There's G plus groups. I'm active in the Pinnacle group, and then the Savage Worlds. There's a separate. I think it's just called Savage Worlds, um, and I'm active in both of them. So definitely. Oh, another side caveat: how awesome is Savage Worlds? Those of you that like to do mass battles, you want to do your own fantasy battle. You get that horror compendium or the fantasy compendium, which I think you can still find. It's a little hard to get out there, but I think you can still find it. Um, and you get whatever setting book you want. The stats are exactly the same for the miniatures game as they are for the RPG. So, and the rules are pretty much exactly the same. There's rules in here for chases, so you can do that pod race from Star Wars if you wanted to. You can do the space battles from like Starfleet battles or Battlestar Galactica. It's all in. The rules are in here. It's super simple. So the tabletop miniatures game, it's actually pretty good, and you can do it. So there you go. Any questions? Drop a message in here. As always, I appreciate a thumbs up and a like, and subscribe if you can. It's always helpful. And if you're a small press company out there and you want to get your game out, hey, shoot it to me. I'll do an honest review. And when I say honest, I mean honest. If the game sucks, I'm going to tell you it sucks. If the game is freaking awesome, I'm going to tell you it's freaking awesome. And there's not a whole lot of bad RPGs in my experience. There's a lot of bad GMs, not bad RPGs. There's something redeemable in every game. Just takes a good GM to bring it out and have fun with it. And it doesn't matter if you think you're a good GM or not. Your players are the ones that matter, because if they have fun, if they keep coming back every week, then you're a good GM. And there's not enough of us out there. So don't be a dick to GMs, because it's a hard job. And if it was easy, everybody would do it, and it's not. So definitely give props to your GMs and play more games. So thanks, peace, love, and happiness. Peace out.